Hello and welcome to Nollywood Film Club. It's me again, Mr. C, a Roker critic. I hope you're doing well. And not too much long talk for this one. I'm just going to allow you hear me bask in what is my favorite web series from Nollywood, maybe of all time. I think so. I'm just going to allow you hear NFC discussing The Most Twisted Girl Season 2. All right, welcome to Nollywood Film Club. We do discuss Nollywood every Sunday, 6 p.m. Today we'll be discussing Most Twisted Girl Season 2. We'll discuss what we like in the good, discuss what not like in the bad, do pushback where we disagree, and a summary at the end. So we're going to kick off with the things we liked. Vanessa, what did you like about The Most Twisted Girl Season 2?
I liked a lot of things about The Most Twisted Girl Season 2. I think the time that was taken between the first season and the second season really showed in the development of the show. While the first show had a very sketch, type-based, whatever it was, this gave us a bit more insight into who the Most Twisted Girl was as a person, beyond the little confessional she'd do directly to the camera. This time, we get to know her through the eyes of her friend, who's her flatmate. We get to know her through the eyes of her mum, who she speaks to on the phone a lot. We get to know her through, multiple different relationships beyond just her perspective on things. We see her through the eyes of an ex. We see her through the eyes of two love interests. So we get a more fully fledged approach towards the Most Twisted Girl as a person. The humor is also still really good in this. I think a lot of the episodes are funny, and it still had that sketch element towards the humor in this. The scenes like that first one where she goes to look for a job, and it's almost like the guy is a diabolical somebody, and we get tied back into the first season. Another really good sketch was the job interview, which was like a harkening back to an old 90s TV show. Another really good sketch was the Nolly Babes one. That was another really good sketch. I thought it was fun. The movie audition sketch was really good. So it balanced the original identity of the show in the first season with the sketches, with now a fully fledged sitcom approach, which was great. The acting was good. I think the selection of guest spots were really good as well. The directing in a lot of it was really good. The directing in that job interview scene is fantastic. A lot of it was silent, wasn't it? If I'm remembering correctly. And it was really good. The lines in it were so good. The lines in that were hilarious. I'm trying to remember the specific one. I think you come into my office. I'm trying to remember how it goes, but that was a really good line. It was really well written, that line. The wedding scene, where she meets her ex. I think the choice of Michael Dapper as her ex was fantastic. He played douchey Lagos Fuckboy very well. I also liked the choice of Philip Asaya as the one of her love interests, the Yahoo criminal one. He's fantastic. I think people should give Philip Asaya more roles. And I liked the reconnection of Phillips and Nengi from Enache. So it was good to see Phillips again on screen. I also quite liked, what's his name? My name is AZ or something. What's his own actual name? He's the other love interest, and he was good in this as well. I think he actually does pretty okay when he's doing romance, and I don't know why Nollywood hasn't given him much more of a shot with romances, because I think he's quite good as a romantic interest. What else did I like? I really like the music in this. I think Nengi's ties to the Ote community in Lagos were quite apparent in the music choices for the show. The music was fantastic. Falana's guest spots in one of this episodes was also really great. What else? What else did I really like about Monster Signal season 2? Ooh. Um, budget constraints, all of that. This was fantastic, honestly. I think it was a really good follow-up to the first season. We can see the growth, not just in the writing, but in our character, in our main character as well. And I think that's what this show does really well. We can see character progression with the most twisted girl. With the second season, we're not just going to have most twisted girl being placed in multiple, weird scenarios. We're actually seeing a progression through her life. And I think the third season, if we do get one, will build on the progression that we've gotten in the second season. So yeah, I've waxed lyrical about Toxic Girl.
Wow. What a testimony. Miss Sushi, do you want to go next or should I? Okay. All right, Missy, come and tell us what you liked about the Most Toasted Girl season 2.
So I liked a lot about the Most Toasted Girl season 2. I think one thing I really liked was it knew its tone and it maintained that tone throughout. I think we got to some point in the last episode where, she gets a little more serious, when she's having that conversation, but it doesn't derail from the tone, right? When she's talking about how, she's always been distracted, as a child and, blah, blah, blah. And it's yeah, I see that. The whole chaotic energy of Most Toasted Girl season 2 makes sense. It works. And, this girl probably has ADHD of the severe kind. Because we're watching it with friends and the number of times we went, focus, that makes sense, that worked. But I really enjoyed the tone and the show, it knew what it was and it stayed with that tone throughout. And it's almost I want to say it's almost like praising a fish for swimming, but in Nollywood, you really should praise the fish for swimming. Then I think something else that I also noticed that I really liked was a Toasted Girl she had a commitment to being in wig cap. And it seems like not a thing, but it was also just so much in line with the tone of the film. But also, babes, no one, you're not wearing your wig 247, right? If you're a person who wears wigs, that wig comes off. That wig comes off as soon as you get home, as soon as just when you're calm, it comes off. It made the character a little more, real and just personable, and you could just see that person. I really enjoyed that. I did enjoy a lot of the writing as well. I liked her relationship with the girls. It was a lot more developed, I think, the relationship with her interacting with her friend group and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. I really liked this a lot. My absolute favorite thing was the music video. On the Run, no. I loved it. Absolutely gave me life. And when I rewatched, as I was waiting for it to start again, and I was singing along because it was a vibe. And again, perfectly in theme and with the right tone. So yeah, enjoyed that.
All right, thank you. I'm actually surprised. I thought I saw Nollywood Must Change because Nollywood Must Change is one of the haters. I'm putting words into his mouth, but Nollywood Must Change did express that some things he did not like. So I was expecting to hear his thoughts, but maybe he'll be back. Stephanie says, "My good. I love the acting, especially from the main lead. 2, as an Adoki, I get myself from Port Harcourt. I love the representation. Shout out. 3, I love that it was lighthearted yet entertaining and fulfilling too. I would definitely watch more seasons. Thanks, Stephanie. Okay. Yeah, so I have my first for the things that I liked, my first list is, in fact, before I go into my good, I want to start with almost this is why I don't like sometimes, this is why sometimes I don't like being even even tangentially, even small closeness to people in Nollywood. This is something I don't like, because there was this thing urge for me to not feel. It felt like I would be doing partiality by putting this, because like it's not really a film, and we really discuss films here. But I feel like if this wasn't based on somebody's work that I was somewhat familiar with in real life, I'd have asked you guys to discuss this a lot earlier, much closer to its release, just because of how much I enjoyed this. But alas, this is a real life, and sometimes, it is what it is. But I so much enjoyed this, and it was just, it's difficult to state how much I enjoyed the writing of this, because I think that's one of my favorite things about the show in its entirety. There's so many nice bits of gags here and there that are laced, and sometimes they get repeated or reintroduced in a different way. One of the things I remember was one of my favorite gags from the whole season is when the mommy gives her anointing oil, and she turns it basically into a business. She turns it into a business because she must hustle, and it's used as this, as the first time we see it, it's been presented in this almost like this mafia, or like almost like the oil is like drugs, and she's like the queen of dealing anointing oil business, where the anointing oil are like drugs, but like she's like a mafia queen. It's set up like that, and it was a funny visual gag on its own. But later on in her CV, it gets reintroduced. The whole point of it gets reintroduced as another thing where she talks about being into oils and selling oils and being an entrepreneur, which again is, that's just good writing that you don't see in Nollywood. And there's so much of that sprinkled across all of this show, in terms of even in filmmaking wise. There's so many things you get from this web series that you just forget other web series. You don't get in Nollywood, full stop, in terms of writing, in terms of filmmaking. So I think the first time when I've spoken about this earlier on in a different space, but the time lapse shot. There's the time lapse shot where Nengi falls asleep waiting for Oga to come, and it's so apparent. It's so apparent that for number one, the amount of time that they actually spent on her, whilst everybody is actually genuinely busy in the background working. That is just a shot that didn't need to be done in that way, but because of, I don't know, for whatever reason, the time and the passion that wanted to be put into this project, they went the extra mile. There's what am I thinking of? Sometimes the old school nods. We were watching this with other people recently, and when they started doing in this episode 1, when they started doing the spiritual fight, the people we were watching with pointed out, oh, this is like old school Nollywood. It's just instantly recognizable what they were trying to go for in terms of the callback to old school, sort of Jesus versus Satan fight, spiritual battles. Like, all of those were so well done and so well incorporated. The score, Mr. Sage has spoken about the song On the Run, right? On the Run is, On the Run is both, a sort of play on the way our scores used to be back in the day, where they used to sort of narrate what was going on in the film. is both that and also a music video. Yeah, there's so much this that filmmaking, and it's just, I know, like, it allows itself, it gives itself the permission to go a lot of different ways, to be honest, and explore a lot of different Nollywood genres. And I really, really enjoyed a lot of that. The tonal shifts it does sometimes is so well done. It's so much well done than we generally do. One of the ones that sticks in my mind was that wedding scene where the confrontation between Michael Dapa and my sister girl happens. It's bizarre because, like, Miss Silva, like, this is a comedy. This whole season knows what it is. It's a comedy throughout, and they're just gags upon gags and gags. But during that point, Michael Dapa shames our autistic girl, and she feels it, and the show stops, and all of the haha and kiki stops, and she swears, and, like, it doesn't happen many times in the show, which is, again, another good use of language. And it just, that swearing, that music stopping, it makes you feel the words even more. There's, like, one of the things that we just don't do in Nollywood is everybody keeps on doing everything at 100. It loses its touch. People keep on shouting about this and that, and all of that is just so unnecessary, because after a while, it's just noise. If everything is 100, nothing is, nothing can be more than that. Everything is just, everything becomes noise. But because gag after gag after gag, and then serious, oh, okay, pay attention. You feel it more. Anyway, I think there's just so much of this that I could talk about, but I will not go around without mentioning Sam's beauty in this. My goodness, yes, Sam, this girl. I don't know why Miss C don't have friends like this. Come on, please. Come on, please. What a friend to have, to be honest. What a friend to have. Oh my God, yes. But yeah, I think the difference in the different type of filmmaking, the writing in this, exploring, I also like what Vanessa said in terms of, like, the distance between season 1 and season 2. I went to watch season 1, and it shocked me how raw season 1 was. Season 1's filmmaking, and it's just so very cheap. It looks, they were just trying some things out, clearly, but it has almost nothing. It has ideas that's what, I mean, I liked season 1. That's why I went to watch season 2. But it has funny ideas in there, and that's what it has going for it. But this actually feels like a sketch. Like Vanessa said, it feels like skits, a compilation of skits. This actually feels like, a webisode, but it does it without betraying its roots. And I think that's a very difficult thing to do, and incredible that they pulled it off. It's such a difficult thing to make a sequel bigger and better, because bigger is not always better. A lot of times bigger is bloated and unnecessary and too different. Like, this is a different movie. But this, for me, is the way to go with a sequel in terms of bigger and better. But yeah, that's what I liked about The Most Distant Girl. Let's see. The things that we did not like about Most Distant Girl. All right, Vanessa, any?
I do think that I understand that there's time constraints, money constraints. I do think, how many episodes was this season? I think, was it 6, 5? I can't remember.
5 episodes.
5, right. I do think 5 episodes was too short. We had just been introduced to X, we had just been introduced to these two love interests, and then the progressions of the final episode, I don't know, it just felt a bit rushed. I think that was my one complaint. I think I had gone into the groove of the second season. I was quite enjoying this progression, and it just felt like the final episode came abruptly. But I do think, what else don't I like? I do think those are my main. I think I would have liked more of her roommate, her really close friend. I can't remember the character's name. I think I would have liked to see her more. I do think there was so much more we could have gone in with her friendship group. Um, what else didn't I like? I do think I liked the way, kind of, sort of, that social media was used in that episode where she was dating both guys. But I do wish it's unspoken and we kind of get it with the way she interacts with us, like we're her fans. But I do think I wish there was much more of a showcasing of the fact that she is quite active on social. And this is the reason why, her using social the way she used when she was dating both guys was so glaringly shown to us. But yeah, I didn't dislike a lot about the season. I do think the final episode felt like it came abruptly and felt like a bit of a shock to the system, and especially with how it ended. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think there's some interesting observations. Cool. We have, Hussein, you went here for things that we liked. So if you want to tell us things you liked about the Mustard Girl and things you did not like, feel free. Hussein Dembele. So.
Yeah,
All right,
hello,
Mrs. Yes, hi.
Yeah, hi. So my name is Hussein Dembele. So I'm a Senegalese screenwriter and and a filmmaker. So I discovered the this web series in Dakar when Nengi came to present it, and I was really really impressed by both things, the quality of the writing and the timing of the joke, because for screenwriting there is something very hard, and that is timing good joke. And I think that Ningi, who wrote the web series, has a natural gift for writing comedy, and it's a gift actually, because a lot of screenwriters lack this ability. So I really appreciate how she was able to combine like low production value, like she had, with just a camera and some talent, you can make it. So, and I think it's very sad that this series is not having more exposure, because it's a very, very underrated show, and I hope that more people got to see it. So yeah, I just wanted to show my appreciation. It's very well written. That's my man, my man. Criticism. It's very well written and it's very simply done. So congratulations to the writers.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Hussein. So back to things we did not like, Mrs. C.
So what I didn't like about Mr. Stud Girl, I'm with Vanessa on, I do wish they had more of a budget, to give more episodes, because we did have to kind of rush through the last couple. And I felt like we were just getting to know, Most Toasted as a person. Like her character had just started to develop, and it felt like quite an abrupt place to cut her off. We rushed through the Ace relationship as well, and then we rushed through getting back with what's his name. And it would have been a lot better if there was time for that. I did mention that I liked that we did see her interact more with the girls. I wish we had more of that. I wish we had more of a chance to see, because I really enjoyed her roommate, and I thought I enjoyed that dynamic that they had. And it would have been good to see more of that dynamic and then more of her dynamic with other people as well. It was nice to see Zainab in there. It was nice to see her mom. And those additional outside interactions would have been great to expand on. I think that would have helped, just, get us more into the world and, give us a bit more. What else did I not like? I'm not sure how I felt about the strength of a lot of the men's performances, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, that's sort of it for me.
Which man?
Most of them. So I guess first guy, that, chief at the beginning. Then my name is AZ guy. I didn't love it. I didn't get a lot from Ace, so sorry, Vanessa, don't hurt me. I didn't get a lot from him, so he did kind of give a little just blare. Where I enjoyed him was when the EFCC guys came, and he was like, now just cook idea, they cook my organo day. I felt like he had a chance to show, give me something there, and I liked that. But I didn't feel like I got a lot when he was playing sexy boyfriend.
I mean, this is not pushback section, but I disagree. I feel like he had aura. I mean, I think he was playing that. He had to do that aura.
Silence.
Yeah. And then the juxtaposition with him is what makes that scene actually work even more. All right. Things I did not like. I said, obviously, when I praise this show, it's praising this show in the context of a lot of Nollywood in the Nollywood sphere, I would say. I genuinely do believe it's doing a lot of things that I wish more Nollywood people would do in terms of writing, in terms of creativity. But saying that, that's in context of Nollywood. So there's still a lot of technical shortcomings. If I was going to compare this to an actual, like a more fully fleshed out webisode. Now, I don't know if all of those shortcomings can be is down to budget reasons. But I would say I don't think so. I'm relatively confident. So there are things like, I complain about Mike's mic packs, people's backs showing. That is something that was very prevalent in this, in quite a few, at least, blocking, being aware of it in the blocking stages can at least reduce that. And I'm sure second time I wasn't listening to it on proper sound, but I'm sure sound wasn't perfect because it never is. But all my praising with this should not be confused as this is great, full stop, no places to improve. No, I think, at least in the technical aspects of filmmaking, I think there's still some stuff, like even with some of the lights, and some of the lights were a little too harsh, and like blown out by the time we lose a bunch of details by the time it reaches the finished product, because like just looking at blown up pixels. But this is a conversation I don't even have with other Nollywood products, because they're much bigger fishes to talk about. But yeah, just in the technical things, there's stuff, there's other things to do. All I've been thinking about is just much more interesting, much more goods that I didn't even say. I don't mention Nengi's performance because at this point it almost feels like a given. But like the character she plays, this cartoon character, it's almost like a cartoon character. It's just small because, again, the genre is very much obviously a comedic. The genre is comedy, and so there's space for a bit more cartoonish and a bit more wild. And I think she toes that line so well. And I don't think this is as strong without a lead performance that just understands it so much. And because I guess there's so much personality in there as well. Because, one of the things that we don't do very well is write or have likable protagonists. And it's the one few things that in all my favorite things from this year that I've watched. So it's Say Who Die and it's the Zikoko web, Zikoko life, shorts. Especially the second and the third one. All of these things have likable protagonists, people you want to root for. And this is I think this one, maybe Elizabeth Say Who Die, but most especially the Most Twisted Girl is the person who on paper has a lot of flaws. She just lacks focus and should be and could be very annoying. It could have been easily one of just a protagonist you just you don't care for. Like, you keep on getting yourself into issues. But that's how a lot of comedy shows are. You start with your protagonist has to have flaws. That's where all of the growth later on hopefully comes from. But we're just not very good at doing that in Nollywood. They're usually just too annoying, and the flaws are just, it feels like what is on display. But anyway, yeah, this is the bad section. It feels like I've basically said more good things than bad. But, if we're going to enter the pushback section, wait, let me check my list. Pushback section. Vanessa saying that. I don't know.
Wow, not did Vanessa say anything.
Okay, so the friends thing, actually, both you and Mrs. C mentioned the French group. And to be honest, I didn't disagree with that, like that, where the friends could have more flavor. I just think I enjoyed the Most Twisted Girl as just following the Most Twisted Girl. I don't actually want it to get too sidetracked. I think the first time I watched it, I wasn't even comfortable when Sam, somebody who, usually just just put the camera on her. I'm fine with that. But I didn't even want her to approach us, the audience. It was so jarring when she was addressing us in the Most Twisted Girls camps. Like, hey, this is not your spot. This is, and she addresses it. Oh, one thing I have to add that I didn't like is, I didn't like that they put sort of almost, they put something behind the thing. They made it, oh, this thing is still on, you're still recording. I liked the idea of, I don't even know how this thing, I know she's talking to us, but I wanted it to be more, just more in the magic. I just wanted it to be more in the magic world of, we don't know how this is going on. We just know that at some point, like Fleabag, yes. Like Fleabag, like sometimes she's just talking to us. Yeah, she's just talking to us. She's just telling, it feels like story time, right? So she feels at that point where it's the Most Twisted Girl in her bedroom, this feels like it's out of the world that she usually says. So it just feels like you're hanging out with somebody and they're telling you a story. And they make a lot of great jokes out of that. So, I guess maybe, yeah, I don't even know whether I'm sure the recording thing isn't doing too much, but I didn't even like that it was on, because it's added one more extra bit of thing that one has to now think about, because before it's just, oh, this somehow she's telling us this story, right? And my magical thoughts can fill in the blank of how it's happening or if it wants to. But now it's not just that she's telling us a story. Now I know she has a camera that's recording us, telling us the story. Just one extra thing that I don't think needed to be there. I think if Sam just started addressing us, I would have been jarred but just fine with the whole thing without it. But it doesn't spoil too much. But that's, for me, one thing I don't think needed to be there. Anyway, at least that's a bad. And, I was talking about the things that I had as, Stephanie says hi, maybe Stephanie's bad. I would have loved to have had more episodes expanding on the relationships. The progression of some of the love interests were a bit sudden. Right. Okay. Yeah. That's that. Everything is happening a little quickly. Actually, when I think about it, I think I had also this thought the first time I saw it. But when I watched it the second time, I was surprised by how much I thought they were able to squeeze enough in such a short time. It's clearly lack of money. If they had more money, I'm sure they would be able to stretch it out and give it more vim. But I actually thought they did quite well with all of that. But I guess I understand people's gripes with wanting, it feels like when you're doing relationships, it should have more meat on the bone, for this. But so yeah, I get both why people would complain about it. But like, for me, when I was watching it, I didn't feel like I was cheated out of, I didn't feel like I was cheated out of any of the plot points as they developed. And I have to say, like, it's just nice to see, like, a lot of the plot points from this are actually genuinely based on actual observations from Nigerian life. It's very nice. It's great to see. It's just great to see somebody taking this kind of thing and their craft seriously. And I remember there was a point where I'm just remembering one of the scenes where she's lying to her mom that she's in a meeting and she's just worn a suit on top of her blouse and she's tying wrapper bill. They don't call any attention to that. It just takes off the suit after she ends the call with her meeting, and you just see that homegirl is in her wrapper and she's like, and then they start talking about how she can't afford her bills and all of that kind of thing. But I like things like that, and I think we just we've been very lucky to have at least this kind of things, and it's a shame it's not as popular as some of the just slop, just absolute slop of YouTube that we get on. But yeah, I thought there'd be more naysayers, to be honest. Maybe it's because we've been a little short in the last couple of weeks in terms of things, but anyway, we'll see how it goes, and we'll see if there are any more. I don't think this will come up again, but if there's a season 3, now there's been precedent set. You guys will not be surprised if we do a season 3 the week it comes out. Because like on this space, especially now that, Nollywood, the films aren't always dropping, I'm happy to just discuss anything I think everybody will find interesting, because I think this kind of thing, like, there's actually different things to talk about this. Whether it would have been a conversation where it wouldn't just have been our standard day-to-day, the protagonist sucks, just no motivation here, blah, 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 and just the normal issues we have. And also Elon seems to be doing a thing today, because I think Vanessa has requested to be a speaker again. I don't know if she's a speaker. It's still showing as listener here.
I'm here now.
Okay.
I went off for a bit, but I'm back.
Okay, all right. It's showing you as, okay, now we have you as speaker. I don't know. Elon is just being strange. Anyway, but I think that's the general gist of it. So do a summary. All right. Vanessa, what was your general thoughts on The Most Sister Girl season 2?
My general thoughts on this Toxic Girl season 2 is that it's super funny. I do think the problem with making a sitcom like My Sister's Girl is in the current climate of Nollywood is what's fighting against it. I do wish more people were attuned to this kind of comedy because it's sharp, it's really well written. Even with the budget constraints, the second season was loads better than the first when it comes to like production quality. And hopefully it's only up from there. I understand that a lot of it was self-funded, so that's that case, you know, and maybe with some help from, other crowdfunding situations, which makes it difficult to make a show like that. But guys, support, watch Most Twisted Girl on YouTube. You can watch the first season and the second season to see the progression of the show. Both seasons are hilarious, honestly. It's really funny. It's a good watch. Nengi's a great actress. She has incredible comedic timing. So honestly, it's a win-win.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Vanessa. Mrs. C?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. This show knew exactly what it was and, was able to convey that throughout. And it really was a fun experience. I recommend.
Yeah. Same for me. Like, I can't think enough praise for this show. I don't think anything is, there's like two web series, Nigerian web series I think I've enjoyed. Maybe it's the third one. I can't remember. I think there's one with, what's his name? What's Toby's Backer? Toby Backer, that I didn't dislike. Can't remember it, but that one just seemed to stop in the middle of nowhere. But I remember not minding that one. Then which other web series did I like? And there's another one I didn't mind. Oh, MMM, the money. I don't know if it's Money Man Marriage or Marriage Money. I thought that was interesting. That's an ensemble piece that I actually think I liked the drama. That one, it's kind of like, it's almost kind of like The Most Twisted Girl in terms of the themes it discusses, in terms of like women and trying to just deal with everyday Lagos dating experience and all of that. But there are different stages of life, and it's more of an ensemble piece, and it's just more traditional drama. But all the plot points are very relatable. But yeah, this is like, I don't think anything is touching this one for me in terms of the creativity, the acting, and a lot of its execution. So yeah, by far my favorite Nigerian web series, I think. But yeah, so much recommend, much like, Nengi says, to watch her film Call Me By My Name, which is a short. It's a single short. That one will be difficult to discuss because I know that one, just a short on its own, we usually need at least a couple or, yeah. But yeah, I think next week we'll go back to geolock time, and we'll see whether we discuss, Thin Line or something. But thanks everybody for joining in.
No, now.
Thin Line, is it that Thin Line is bad, or you don't want to go back to geolock content?
I've already watched it. It's not about geolock content.
Was it bad?
It wasn't bad.
Is it just, you said you responded with God I beg. So you need to explain this God I beg.
I just feel like we're just gonna go back to saying the things that we've always said. You know? is
Right.
how I feel
Okay.
about
So
it.
just
Yeah.
more of the same. All right.
Yeah, it's how I feel
But we
about it.
haven't
It's
done
my
that.
choice.
In fairness, we haven't done that in like a month.
Okay, fine. You want us to reheat our nachos? We will reheat our nachos.
let's just let's just go back to oh, I remember what this feels like, and then maybe we'll not do one of those for a bit. All right. But yeah, might do that. I see you getting ahead of the game in terms of geolocking. Look at that on your own. Nobody sent to you. Well done, Vanessa. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed listening and would like to join live, just follow us on Twitter at Kekere-Ekun and join us every Sunday, 6 p.m. West African time on our spaces.